doing with their currency. They're doing everything in their power to be able to weaken their currency so that other countries can buy from them. Russia. Do you realize that 2 weeks ago, Russia, for the first time that I can ever remember in my life, Russia announced a stimulus. Russia, of all people. It was just after the Cyprus event. And, of course, Russians had lost billions of dollars in Cyprus. And Russia actually announced a stimulus event. Worldwide economic weakness everywhere, and the COMEX is in trouble, big trouble. Some people are even suggesting that the COMEX may be bankrupt and they just haven't announced it yet. So no silver was available for a period of time. Folks, you need to watch very carefully what's happening because it's getting to the point that the elite are pulling some strings. They are not. I'll go back and say it again. I've said a number of times during the program, and I don't like to keep saying things at the same time, but you need to realize the elite are not ready yet for a financial collapse. It is going to happen, and you must not go to sleep. Your currency is still worth enough that you can go and use it. Don't go in debt. Under no circumstances, go in debt for anything. If you can't afford to pay for it, don't buy it. But if there are things that you need to do for your family, your currency is still fairly strong. It's going to become weak rapidly before too long. Go and do what you need to do. I have made some very definite decisions in my household within the past 2 months' time. I've done some things that I would not have done 6 months ago. You've got to get into tangibles and get out of paper of every kind possible because the paper, if you have it, you are going to take a loss. Now, you will remember...
May I make a suggestion? Because I would actually encourage people to invest in paper, toilet paper, because nothing is more valuable in an economic collapse situation. I can assure you. Stockpile that.
You're great.
Stockpile that.
I love that. There are a number of things I could suggest. There are things that men need. There are certain things that ladies need. And if you didn't have them, can you imagine what a mess your house would be in? And you're right. If it's ever a time that you need toilet paper, you're right. Invest in paper. Invest in those things that you need. Let's think of some other things, Vinny, that people need to do right now.
How about you hold that thought, Chaplain, and we'll be right back after the break at the VinnyEastwoodsShow.com. Chaplain Lindsey Williams from ProphecyClub.com is my very special guest. Only one more segment. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the final segment with the Chaplain Lindsey Williams. Now, you were going through a list of other things that you think people should invest in other than toilet paper investments.
Well, Vinny, I'm fascinated by what you said. You are so bright. I put it in my notes. I'm going to use this on other shows when I'm talking about this. Invest in paper. And whenever I say that, of course, the audience will definitely know that I'm saying the exact opposite of what I normally said. And then I will say toilet paper. Vinny, you just gave me one great statement. Thank you so very much. You helped to make my day today.
Well, enjoy.
Yeah. Now, let me tell you what Canada has done. Please, you still have those pencils and paper handy there. I want you to jot this down and actually go on the Internet and look this up for yourself also. Canada, just north of the United States of America, had just adopted their 2013 budget. And in their budget, on page, I'm even going to tell you where to find it now. You can go look for it yourself. This will amaze you. On page 144 and 145 in the Canadian budget for 2013 is called an Economic Action Plan for 2013. And the Canadians don't have the slightest idea. They are in just as much trouble as Cyprus. In this Economic Action Plan for 2013, which is actually described in detail on page 144 and 145, it states that the Canadian government has the right to go into the bank account of any bank account in the country of Canada, any person who has any amount of money deposited in a bank in Canada, in the case of, and I'm going to actually quote the words that they use, systematically important banks. Now, in America, we would say banks that they're too big to fail. In the Canadian budget, they said any banks that are systematically important banks, if they happen to fail and become insolvent, that the Canadian government has the right to go into the bank account of every bank account in the country of Canada and withdraw whatever they want, any amount, at will, and to see to it that that bank is bailed out. It is amazing, Benny, how countries around the world are putting their constituents, their people, the residents of that country, in jeopardy. Cyprus is just the first place that they tried such, and Canada already has it in law as of right now, Benny.
Can I ask as well, in your travels and your learning over the years, have you seen that the elite have no conscience, and maybe the people who work for them also don't really have any idea what they're doing? They're simply serving evil, and they might be unaware of it, like the bankers and the prime ministers and so on and so forth have perhaps been duped into thinking that they're doing the right thing? Do you know anything like that?
The people who work for them, I don't think they really realize what they're doing. That I can say yes, because, see, there were so many people around me when I was at Prudhoe Bay, for instance, and was the chaplain for the elite. And many of the people had not the foggiest idea what was going on. All they knew were that they were involved in a project of some kind. But the elite themselves, they know exactly what they're doing. And as far as conscience is concerned, I think they've long since lost it. It seems that they have no sense of anything but one thing, and that is control, control, control. Why would Hitler do what he did in the last war? Why would Mussolini do what he did? Why did Stalin do what he did in Russia? Why did Mao do what he did in China? The elite are basically on the same level, except instead of just going out and outright murdering people, they're doing it through austerity measures of every kind imaginable. They're doing it through a healthcare system which contains euthanasia. They've become a little more sophisticated in their methodology of what they're doing, but the elite know good and well what they're doing. I will say this, though, Benny. You see, the people that I knew back in those days, they're in their 70s and 80s now. And I'll admit to you, they are very concerned. They're concerned about what the younger elite are doing, and they are very concerned about their children. I've had the wife of one of the elite, whom got to know through him, of course. Our families were close at one time, and she is so concerned about her children. She has written me many times and talked about her sons, her daughters, who now are out in the business world. Some of them are some of the oil company officials and so on. And she's very, very concerned about the pattern that's been set and what's happening. So the older elite are concerned about what the younger ones are doing, but yet on the other hand, I think the pattern is pretty much set. Barring divine intervention, they will accomplish what they want to accomplish. But there again, I go back to what I said about halfway through the program, and that is, I honestly believe at this point that there is a possibility that because of the free spirit that has been evident in America since our founding, and because we are generations of free people over here, I think that there is a very good possibility that there is going to be a successful rebellion against the Antichrist in the United States of America. And this is one of the reasons I produced this latest DVD series that I just produced and came out last week, The New Signs That the Elite Have Given Me. I want you to be so informed that you will know a step ahead of what the elite are going to do. Just like your prime minister down there, Mr. John Key. He has told you probably what they're going to try to do in New Zealand. Now, those who take action right now can prepare themselves. And those of you who will believe what my elite friend has told me, and please, get this DVD. It is not copywritten. Did you catch that? My new DVD series, The New Signs the Elite Have Given Me, it is not copywritten. You can put it on a DVD copy machine. Now, this is a DVD that you watch on your television set in your home. This is not a CD; it's a DVD, and you can copy this DVD. It has no copyright on it. And please copy it and give it to every friend and neighbor you possibly can, because if I can inform, and Benny, if you can inform, and other radio talk show hosts around the country can inform people enough, the elite don't have a chance. There's only a handful of them. There are millions of us. And if enough wake up, and they're waking up in mass in the United States of America, I honestly believe that there is a possibility that there can be a concerted, I don't want to use the word, I don't want to get too harsh with this. I think that could be a concerted effort on the part of the American people that would literally scare the living daylights out of the elite, to the point that they're either going to have to go much faster with what they're doing and bring it about immediately, or they're going to have to back off a little bit. So I think there is hope here in the United States of America. So please get this so that everyone will know what they're going to do, and then when you see approaching what they have said they're going to do, then you can take the action accordingly, Benny.
Okay. Now, I was also thinking about this too, that having good friends around you, because it's so important, especially in this day and age, when you're learning about things that are, well, more or less, Chaplain, terrifying. The thing that you really need often is good friends around you to help you deal with the fact that you know all these really scary things, and there isn't a ridiculously large amount that you can do about it, and like no man can stop it on his own. But in terms of talk radio, it's such an effective medium. And in New Zealand, if you call up talk radio and you mention a politician while you're on air, exposing them, and so on and so forth, that politician has that transcript of that talk radio show sent to them for review. So if you ever want to get a message to a politician without having to send them a message, just call in to local talk radio and say the truth. It doesn't matter if the host turns out to be a scumbag who hangs up on you, because you will hijack, for a moment at least, their audience, and you can get the truth out using other people's apparatus. This is using the weapons of the enemy against them. They don't like talk radio, as far as I know, the elite, because it is so effective and instrumental at waking people up. Because when people are listening, they're really listening. Okay, well, that just about wraps us up.
I'm so proud of the American Freedom Network, Benny, and what they're doing. They literally are waking up millions of people. And I'm always so glad to be on as a guest on any one of the shows on the American Freedom Network, because I know the number of people that you're reaching. I have kept very meticulous records over the many years that I've done radio talk shows, since 38 years ago when I did my first one. And I will have those people who take calls for me out in the middle part of the country. And I'll ask them, how many people did you have call in today? And I can account it to the particular radio talk show that I happen to be on that day. And I know approximately how many listeners a network has. American Freedom Radio Network has a major amount of listeners. And there'll be a lot of people who will call in. And I can pretty much tell you approximately how many people you have on any given show as a result of this. Now, there's one other thing that I would urge people to do. I know
we don't have time, Lindsey, unfortunately. We've got to go. All right, well, we'll see you again sometime, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, Lindsey.